"Well done, good and faithful servant." That's what his master said to him. "You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." What does that even mean? What is this commendation? And why would his master say that? Who even is the master? And who is the faithful servant? This is an excerpt from the parable of talents in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 to 30, where servants are rewarded for their stewardship while their master is away. It's a story told by the greatest teacher of all time, Jesus. This story serves as a promise of commendation for believers who remain consistent and committed in their faith and ultimately their service to God. But let's take a step back and examine this story in order to understand what this service really is. The parable of talents appears in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 30, and it's a story that Jesus tells to illustrate responsibility, faithfulness, and stewardship. In this story, a master prepares to leave on a journey, a long journey, and before departing, he entrusts his property to 3 servants. To one servant, he gives 5 talents. To another, he gives 2 talents. And to the third one, he gives 1 talent. Each amount is given according to his ability, which suggests that the master intentionally distributes responsibility based on what each servant could handle. Now, bear in mind that a talent in the ancient world was not a skill or a natural ability, as the English word will often imply it today. It was a unit of weight that was used for precious metals like silver or gold, and in the Roman world of the 1st century, historians generally estimate that a single talent was worth roughly 6,000 denarii. Now, since 1 denarius was approximately a single day's wage for a laborer, a single talent could represent around 20 years of wages. That could be someone's retirement in today's day and age. So, in other words, even the servant who received only 1 talent, in this case, was entrusted with an enormous amount of wealth. This master we're talking about here wasn't leaving some small coins behind. He was placing significant resources and responsibility in the hands of these servants, his servants. Now, the story continues. The first servant immediately puts 5 talents to work and he doubles them, turning 5 into 10. The second one does the same thing. He doubles his 2 talents into 4. Both of these servants are acting with initiative and diligence. They understand that what was given to them by their master is meant to be used and grown, not simply hidden or preserved, which is very important because the third servant responds very differently. For some reason, out of fear, this third servant buries the single talent that he's given in the ground to keep it safe. Now, context here. In the ancient world, burying your valuables was a common way to protect your money and your properties from theft. But in this case, the servant's caution is an excuse for inaction. He decides to preserve the money, but he produces nothing compared to the 2 other servants. Now the story continues. After a long time, the master returns and he calls the servants to give an account of what they've done with the talents that he gave them. The first servant presents his 10 talents. Remember, he was given 5, and the master praises him. He tells him he's been faithful with a little and he will now be entrusted with much more. And then he invites him to share in his master's joy. The second servant presents 4 talents. Remember, he was given 2, and receives the exact same praise and reward. Now we can see here that the master's approval is not based on the total amount earned, but on the servant's faithfulness, his stewardship of what he was given. The same praise and reward is given to the person that got 5, and same for the person that got 2. But what about the third servant? Well, finally, the third servant returns the 1 talent, and he explains that he hid it because he was afraid of the master. Why? And so the master, rather than commending him for protecting the money, the master rebukes him for his laziness and his unwillingness to act. This servant knew very well that his master expected results of him. He says it in there, but this servant chose not to use what had been entrusted to him. So what does the master do? Well, the master takes the talent away from this servant that has 1 and gives it to the servant who has 10. Now this kind of always blew my mind. I never really thought about it deeply, but why would he do this? The answer is simple. If you're faithful in little, you will be faithful and more. We can see this in Luke chapter 16 verse 10. This brings me to the concept of stewardship. That's what this entire story is all about. Now, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, stewardship is the careful and responsible management of something that is entrusted to one's care. Two things are important here. First thing, careful and responsible management. Second thing, something entrusted to one's care. Each and every one of us has been given talents, immense abilities, gifts, skills, and we've been ordained for a godly purpose. We see this in Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, a very common verse. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. This is what God has entrusted in our care. Our careers, our jobs, our families, our friendships, our skills, our purpose. And God makes it very clear that we're equipped for the purpose that we're called to. Verse 6 and 7 show that very clearly. Jeremiah is saying here, I don't know how to speak. I am too young. And honestly, as a 24-year-old, I feel this all the time. It's so real. It's the reality. But what does God say? In verse 7, he says, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. So let me ask you this. What talents has God given you? What gifts do you have? What has God entrusted in your care? How are you using them? How are you investing them? Are you burying them like the third servant? Are you being careful with them? And are you managing them responsibly? Your time, your knowledge, your skill set, your craft, your career, your money, your relationships, all entrusted to you by God. Are you stewarding them properly? Do you even believe that what you have is given to you by God? Do you even believe that God is purposefully giving you gifts that are specially designed for the purpose he has for you? Well, if you're a believer, he certainly has, and he wants you to use them for his glory. Now, I know you have the burning question of how do I find or know these gifts? It's simple. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you.